Hi everyone, welcome to Crytivo Connect. Today we're connecting with our developers, Power to the People. The game is Power to the People, but the team is Hermes Interactive. And today we have Federico with us, with his team. If Federico, you can present your team to us, and we can meet these guys for the first
Yes,
time
of
ever.
course. Hello, everyone. It's good to be here with you in Crytivo Connect. As Alex said, my name is Federico. I'm the lead developer and creator of the original concept for Power to the People. And I'm here with a couple of my team members. Here we have Frederick, who is the brilliant composer, and we have been working together a lot in previous games. And also joining us today, we have Todd from Jersey, Jersey, the British Crown dependency in North State, who is one of our 3D artists, a very young and very talented chap. So, yeah, it's really, really good to be here, and looking forward to talking more about the game and showing you some of the new things we have been working on.
Awesome. Yeah, and we have Sasha as well, our business partner, my business partner and COO for Crytivo. So he's gonna help me
Hello,
to
guys.
to, to host this crazy show, the podcast. So things are gonna be wild. So keep connected. So yeah, thanks guys. Nice to meet you. And yeah, I guess as usual, our first question is like. Um, you guys, what inspired you to make this game? Well, I would say, like, first, I would like to tell what the game is. So, Power to the People is a electricity management game. Like, you manage your own power grids, build a city. Well, not to build a city, but like the city is constantly expanding, and you manufacture and connect some electric plants and other source of energy, and trying to kind of like catch up with everything. So it's pretty fun and unique concept. And I would say it's like will be great to know is like what inspired you guys to make a game like that, because it's I mean it's probably safe to say it's very unique, right? Like nobody's really done something like that in the past. Or do you have any
Yeah.
games that you're using as inspiration still?
Oh, definitely. I mean, you could almost see Power to the People as a subset of the city building genre in a way. But I don't think there are many games, or there have been many games where the main focus is put on the power grid managing and the power grid building aspects. As you said, it's a resource management game. It's supposed to be quite fast paced. So you have these cities that are always expanding and always growing, and your job is to keep building new infrastructure and try to repair things and keep things running smoothly. Um, and I think, the inspiration comes mostly from always for most of my life, having a fascination with the city building genre, growing up with games like the SimCity series. So I think that's part of the reason why we ended up deciding to make this game. And also, I think it's a good intersection because I have always been fascinated by engineering and by the way in which we as humans are constantly building these massive machines to make our lives easier and better. So I think it was a perfect intersection between my interests, and I think it ended up being almost natural to make a game like this.
Yeah, it's also a challenging task to kind of like come up with this original idea and just like start pretty much from scratch. It's just like coming out with like zero information on like how to treat the game design for games like that. You know, it's like and you still have to kind of have a good entrance to the game, because like to me, like electricity is a very scary thing, right? And it's like I know nothing about electricity, and playing your game, I felt like pretty well. I won't say safe, but it's like it's easy to understand, you know, what's going on and what you need is like, so it's not really simulated like crazy to the core, you know, it's like where like you have no idea what's going on and you have to take like engineering classes to understand like what type of generator you need and transformers and stuff like that. So yeah, you guys are definitely doing a good job on that. And
I think you are spot on in what you're saying, right? One of the big challenges has always been, okay, how do we get the balance right? You don't want a game that's way too easy and way too casual. You also want a game which you need a PhD in order to be able to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very, very delicate balance. And it's really, really hard to get right. But I think so far it's been working with the demo we have released as part of the Steam Next Fest. I think most people were able to very quickly grasp, okay, this is what the game is about, this is how it's played. So I think that so far that's been going well. And of course, you always have people who maybe have a background in electrical engineering that they're expecting a higher degree of complexity. And then you start getting tempted, right? It's always this temptation to say, maybe we need to incorporate a power factor correction and the DC power lines and whatnot. And then at some point the game becomes too complex and it stops being fun. So yeah, we're always trying to find that balance and trying to get things right.
Yeah, that's great. That's great, and you're definitely doing a great job. I think because it's like it's so easy in the game development to just get excited about game features, right? Like it's so easy to just like, oh, what if we'll add rockets, or what we'll add that, or what if we'll add that, this simulation, that simulation, and then it's like the ideas are so easy to come up with, but implementation and actually making them work together is so much harder. It's like, and keeping yourself a little bit your ties tight, is very important in the game development. But I guess the main thing as well is like in any game is music, right? And Frederick is responsible for music. Like, can we talk a little bit more about that and learn what inspires you, Frederick, to write beautiful sound tunes for the game? Because when I played it, that's definitely contributes a lot to the peaceful gameplay, and it just works together really well.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, of course. Well, it's a lot of things really. This game is, as we talked, it's about electricity and lots of small parts moving. So I wanted to recreate that in a way, and so I gained a lot of inspiration from like 1960s modernism music, like Steve Reich, Terry Riley, and Philip Glass, stuff like that. So yeah, I used a lot of those influences as well as basic orchestral influences, and tried to make something out of that. So yeah, the idea was just to make something that is completely random at all times, which is we use a lot of layers that trigger randomly. So I mean, it's mostly the same sound throughout all of the soundtrack, but still there's it's always different from one playthrough to the next. So yeah, so that was pretty much the inspiration. Make it sound like it's a lot of small parts moving.
That's great. Yeah, it's definitely always a challenge to work with programmers and explain them your vision and like expecting them implementing that perfectly. And it seems like you guys found that middle ground where it just works. Like especially when you trying to convey the mood of the soundtrack, as you play, if it's something getting worse or something getting better. So yeah, that's really important. And Frederick, what's your Sasha, I'm sorry if you want to ask.
Yeah, and that's where it's just interesting, like how, Federico, you were able to communicate all your knowledge in, let's say, electrical engineering and engineering overall across your team, because like not everyone, I'm pretty sure, has the degree in that area, and like how basically your communication went across the team.
Oh, sorry, was that me? Or
did you guys hear me?
Yeah. Oh, he's asking you asking Frederick or Federico, because the names are ridiculous.
Federico
I can take it.
Frederick.
No
Yeah. Whoever can take it.
As Alex said, just to answer that as well, thing about the middle ground is we're at this project we're using a middleware called Fmod, which is sort of a program that you have within the game, which allows me to do the implementation half the way. I can use it sort of like a digital audio workstation, not exactly that, but I can implement files there and decide some behaviors and add some parameters, and then I tell Federico what the parameters are controlling. And
Yeah.
like, for instance, there's a parameter going from 100 to 0, which we have coupled up with the customer satisfaction in the game. So we tell that to follow that. So whenever customer satisfaction falls from 100, it affects that parameter, which again affects how intense the music is, because that gets more intense as everything goes bad.
That's cool. That's cool. Federico, maybe you can stream the game while we talk about it, because like there's some new people that gonna see it for the first time ever, and at this point they kind of have to imagine what we're talking about. You know, it's like so it will be nice to have it running in the background as well. And yeah, that's great. I believe that music in any creative work is a heart. You know, it's like, yes, you have to have a good game design. Yes, you have to have a good product, like good movie, good story, and things like that. But having the right music for it is very, very important. You know, so the soundtrack is the king. You know, yeah, it's very important. What's your background on that, Frederick? It's like, have you worked on any other games in the past, or this is your first gaming project?
Oh, this is me and Federico's third game. So I've worked with Federico on his first game, Winds of Trade, and then we worked together on Automa Chef, and now we're working on this. So yeah, so that's the previous experience. And like the music design has been a bit different from project to project. This is definitely the most advanced one, and the first one we're using middleware. So the past games we just communicated, like by email. I say, so whenever that happens, this one triggers that and this, and yeah. So it's a bit better now.
Yeah.
But,
explaining.
But yeah, also.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Please finish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and well, about the music for a game, it is, as you say, it is important, but you also have to like hold back. You have to underscore the whole thing and not catch focus too much, except when you want it to do. And that's a delicate balance that takes a lot of time to learn. And yeah, still a lot to learn for me.
Yeah, for sure. It's always, as a creative director myself, it's like I find like great challenges in explaining our composer what I want. It's like the music is one of the hardest things to explain to someone. It's like you literally have to, it's like, I want that tush, 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 you know, it's like, or have some like the only way to explain what you want is showing the references, you know. It's like, hey, I want it to be like that, you know. It's like but other than that, it's like, yeah, it's almost impossible to explain tunes, you know. It's like verbally. So
well, Alex, it seems like Google actually understands some of the tish sounds.
Yeah.
If you type it, it's gonna tell you, especially like Mortal Kombat soundtrack. It's gonna find it.
Well, I mean, we can try it for sure a little bit later, maybe. And I'm not good at beatboxing for sure. But so yeah, great stuff. Good to know. And
actually, it's, so sometimes dish and stuff like that is actually the best kind of feedback you can get, because if it gets too technical, it could actually not work as well as just trying to explain how you feel about the music and how you feel that it should be, or stuff like that. That's I find that really works. If we communicate well, that really works.
Well, you see, my worry is like even explaining tish part is like I'm not sure even if I'm expressing that, like taking from my mind and expressing that to you correctly. You know, it's like when I work with a composer too. So yeah, it's a delicate process, and I definitely admire your craftsmanship. You guys are doing great jobs, like for sure. Without you, the projects are not going to be as vibrant as they are. You know, so yeah. Good stuff.
Well, thanks for that.
Yeah,
exactly. And I think that what I would like to add is when it comes to communication between Fredrik and I, so we have worked together already in 2 other games, so we have known each other for some years now. I think, to put it simply, I think I just completely trust him. So whatever he wants to do with the music, I know it's going to be great. So just okay. you do your thing. Here is Fmod. Build up your audio tracks, put on your parameters, do whatever you want, and I know it's going to be great. So I honestly don't even have to worry about that. And
Have you ever
not
tried
making-
beatboxing to him? It's like through emails. It's like, hey, I want to tish tish tick tock tock took. You know, it's like it's fine.
yeah. What I usually do is just I tell him, just paste this in Google Translate and ask the speech synthesizer
All
to
right.
read it out, and that's how it's supposed to sound. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fabulous,
yeah. All right, and now it's Todd's
That's
time.
cool.
No, I'm just kidding. Well,
so
I mean,
what do you guys like?
go ahead,
Oh,
Sash,
sorry.
please. Yeah, that's
So it seems like you guys, as you mentioned previously, you worked on Winds of Tides and Automotive, and all of them like completely different from each other, and same as Power to the People. So like, how you guys even progress through all those stages? Because it seems like you started with ships, then you slowly move to more management game, and now it's like complete electricity management game. So is this something that you guys just prefer as a genre, or is this something that, again, just closer for you to, like as nature, just how you move through it?
the electricity is close as
yeah.
nature to all of us. Yeah,
Especially when you put your fingers in a socket.
fork. No, don't try that at home. Yeah.
Not an advice.
This stream performed by professionals. Don't try
I'm
this
glad
at home.
that you guys have good lawyers advising you what you can say. I think that
He's right there behind
they
the
are-
hours.
That's
Chilling
just
in the
tapping on
corner.
your shoulder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Disclaimer time. I think it's been quite natural for us to make this type of games. I mean, even if they are quite different from each other in terms of theme, they still have a thread that's connecting them all together, which is resource management, right? In Winds of Trade, you had to manage your fleet of ships and go from one port to another, buying goods and selling goods and stuff like that. Tomasz was a bit more what's the puzzle genre maybe, but it was still in that connecting thread of resource management, having to place your machines and build your kitchen and trying to make things as efficient as possible and trying to minimize the power usage, trying to minimize the amount of ingredients you were using and whatnot. And now Power to the People is pure resource management. So I think it has mostly to do with the kind of games that we personally enjoy playing. So I think that's what drives us to come back again to the same type of genre, even if we're trying very different themes in all of them. And I think that also for Power to the People, that has also played a role in terms of the way the game looks, right? It has this slightly retro aesthetic that's a bit reminiscent of games like SimCity and Transport Tycoon, which are basically the games that we grew up with. I mean, Fredrik and I, Todd, I think he's significantly younger, so maybe not so much, but he's the fresh blood in this project.
Yeah. I grew up with Call of Duty and GTA, so
Call of Duty
Very
and GTA.
different.
As many millions of others, yeah.
Yep.
But despite that, it's, the art is beautiful. And Todd, it seems like you're working on an art, right, for the game?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I think,
So
yeah.
what would you say like the most challenging part right now, let's say for you to work on it? Because I mean, you guys started with like more simple things, and as we basically worked with you, we saw like a huge progress, especially when you guys start expanding the city and like adding new buildings to the city, and it just like looks gorgeous and very, very different from where you initially started. So like it seems like
so,
you did a very huge leap forward with that.
Well, yeah, I was originally, I started as just the environment art. So I was doing all these trees and everything. And then Federico asked me to do some buildings, and I was like,
Federico is the most challenging part.
So I said, sure, I'll give it a go. Don't hate me if it's bad. And so I did a little like trial building, and then we went through with it. And then I think the most difficult thing is like trying to get the architecture style right for the
Mhm.
place you're trying to like
Oh, yeah, that's.
trying to show.
Mhm.
So you have to do a lot of like in-depth research, and the countries that we have are some of them are quite difficult to even get any like building photos of. They're just really similar, and you have to go into like loads and loads of depth trying to like scour the internet for images.
Mhm.
So I found myself on loads of like agencies selling houses and stuff. So I'd keep getting ads about houses in Agra or something, and I'd be like, wow, this is a different house.
Yeah.
But yeah, the actual like modeling of it is so fun so fun to do, and it's just so nice when you see your house like it's finally like looks like what you wanted to model. But definitely the most difficult bit is replicating it and getting
Mhm.
everything right.
And just to give a little bit more context to the people who are watching us today, in part to the people, you will be able to basically help with electricity in different parts of the world. So it's not like you're just playing on one specific map and you're growing your city. It's more like you're traveling across the globe. Like you can be in France, you can be in US, you can be in Canada, all over the place. And therefore, that's what Todd is basically mentioning, that it's very hard to replicate certain style of those cities and basically convey that this is what it
Yeah.
is.
Well,
It's like
on top of
I
it,
was
I
good.
think. Oh, I'm sorry. It's like.
No, no worries. You go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just wanted to add is like on top of it, I think like you have great limitations of minimalism, right? Like you have like very limited amount of polygons to work with, and even though it looks simplistic and kind of conveys the message that it's easier to make things like that, but in the reality, it's actually opposite because your hands are tight, you know, it's like and you have to express your vision in very limited with a very limited rules. So can you tell us a little bit more on how you handle it and what's your bottlenecks over there? Is like how do you overcome
Oh,
that?
well, I usually I'll come up with like when modeling it, I'll send it to Federico, and then he'll come back to me like, "Oh, you need to add these things on if I'm missing anything." And it's really difficult. I was in my third year at uni, um, and I decided that I would focus on low poly stuff instead of doing high poly, really detailed, realistic stuff. I decided to do low poly, so that's why I was quite okay with going ahead with it and modeling really low poly stuff, where it's just like blocks and stuff. But yeah, it's a difficult one. You have to really try to not use as many polys as you can. You have to like really, really simplify it. So like drawing it out into shapes is always good.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, as you said, the different because there's different countries and stuff. They also take inspiration from other countries on certain buildings. So then you find there's a crossover of architecture styles. So it's even more difficult then.
Nice.
But yeah, getting the low poly is always difficult. I just start with boxes and stuff. It's then you can't go wrong from there really.
Yeah.
So,
Nice.
and overall gameplay in the game, it's basically you building all those electrical stations, you connecting them together, and then you powering up the cities that constantly growing, right?
Yeah.
So what is like the constant challenge that you have to face? Is it the actual growing city, or is it like some kind of natural disaster can happen, or maybe there's like something else? What do you guys think in your vision, like what you would like to be challenging for the players?
Yeah, I think the main challenge is always the fact that cities are always growing, population is always growing, and so electricity demand is constantly going to increase over time, and then you have to expand your infrastructure. So otherwise things are going to get overloaded. Your power lines are going to be overloaded. Your substations are going to be overloaded, and therefore everything will start to fail. That would be the main challenge in the game. But then, of course, you also have a whole another layer where you have natural disasters that can get in your way as well, like lightning bolts striking your power lines, trees falling and breaking your cables, solar flares, and so on. So that will also keep you a bit on your toes, even if you think you have everything under control now. Things can still get very challenging. As well as the world is constantly changing in a way. So, for example, at some point, a city may decide that they're going to be replacing their buses with electric buses, and therefore they're going to have a much higher electricity demand. So you're always having to adapt to the changing circumstances.
It's cool.
It's so interesting and at the same time fascinating because in our real day lives we don't really think too much about it. You know, like it's like,
Unless
well, we
your
do
power
have power,
goes
yeah,
out.
that's
Unless your powers go down,
and
then
if it goes
electricity comes.
out, we're like extremely frustrated because it's like, oh, come on, I can't access my computer, I can't do this, I can't do this. It's like it's a chaos. And it's like getting even more frustrated when it's not being fixed for quite a long time. But then if you start thinking about it, as you, Federico, basically mentioned, like what could have happened and what like actually people who are dealing with it have to go through, it's like, wow, that's actually fascinating, and it's a lot of work. So you seems like giving just a little bit of that to try in your game for people like us who are far away from electrical engineering stuff.
That's
And
a
to
that's
see what
actually
they have to build.
that's actually a good question for Federico. Is like, how much knowledge do you have, or all of you guys, how much knowledge do you have in the electric sphere? Is like, do you really know what you're doing? Are you playing with, or are you playing with electricity? Is like,
We're just making things up on the spot.
Right.
No, I mean, I do have some knowledge about how power grids work and how electricity works. It's a bit of a basic knowledge. You could also say that because I have always had an interest in electricity and playing around with electronics and stuff like that, I think that has also helped me pick this up a bit more quickly. But of course, I have also been doing my research and reading actual physical books in paper, like a caveman,
Wow.
and stuff like that. So I think that it's a bit of background knowledge that I already had, mixed together with my own personal interests, mixed together with some research. And also having our Discord channel that people who are watching should absolutely join. I think that's also a good tool. Because we are constantly getting people joining our channel, and they maybe are even working as part of this legion of people that are maintaining power grids somewhere in the world, and they very often have very valuable input for us.
Have you ever had to do any experiments at home and learn a little bit more about
Like
electricity?
overloading your network.
I think my lawyer says I'm not allowed to talk about that. So,
Oh, okay.
no,
Good
that's
lawyer.
a no-go.
Good lawyer. Yeah. Don't mess up with electricity. That's great. Yeah. And I guess important thing to let everyone who's watching to know is like, because we're planning to run some open close testing, so you'll be able to sign up for the game to try it out in upcoming months. So all that you'll need to do is just like, the safest way to do is like join the Discord channel. I just posted a link, so make sure you stay connected, and anyone who wants to try it out will try it out. So you guys just need to be around, and yeah, team is always open for any kind of feedback. In the past, even I've been reached by some of the engineers, and we kind of like ask them to play. It's like, you definitely should not expect crazy. It's not a simulator game. I would. It's safe to say, right, Federico? Is like, it's a more like arcadey management game where you raise the demand between the demand of the city and what you can supply. It's like, and so simulations is not necessarily the best thing always in the game. So sometimes you have to kind of like cut the corners and make things more arcadey and fun. And I think that's the main challenge in any game, is like, because we're sharing the same DNA with you guys. Like, we're game developers ourselves, and sometimes it's kind of like it's almost like easier to simulate things versus craft them towards the players. You know, it's like, because the simulation is like you have a world data, you can just like grab it and just say it's like, okay, I have transformator, I have like fuse, I have this, and this. Will that be fun? No, it's not. It's not going to be fun. You know, it's like, and that's where you have to think about it, and it's like, okay, how can we make it fun, and at the same time, like, keep that mood, like, just to convey that message that, hey, you're an engineer, you're trying to kind of help the city expand, and yeah, that's really challenging. It's so easy, as we talked earlier, is like, it's so easy to overcomplicate things and overkill it. It's actually harder to keep things simple. And simplicity is usually is the key and the beauty of many projects, you know. Not to take away from like simulation games. I think simulations games are great, but like, it's just different type of genre, you know. It's like, attracts like different type of people.
Yes, absolutely. I think you're absolutely right there. It's even a bit harder to make simplified version of reality that's fun as a game than just actually trying to recreate every single aspect and getting extremely technical. So yeah, in that sense, I would say this is not a simulation. Some simulation aspects, and it's of course very much grounded on reality. So the things that's happening in the game and the way the overall way the power grid works is similar as how it works in reality. But it's not definitely a hardcore simulation. Don't know that companies are going to start using to plan their real life power grids.
Hey,
or anything
wait,
like
wait. If you're interested, we're gonna license that. It's like, so.
So Federica, can you just quickly go over what's going on your screen and just like explain what you're doing, and just show to people like, hey,
yeah, just a main game loop
and how everything works in a simple way. Obviously, there's like way too many things to the game, like if you go into details, but like, just if you can overall showcase some things. And
yes, absolutely. As we said before, the main goal is always to provide people with electricity. So I started playing this game like 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago. So it's still in a very early stage. We only have a couple of very small cities. As you can see, we are now playing in Finland. Now it's June, it's the middle of summer, and we have 15 degrees. So we have this, which is the main city at the moment, and it's of a small size still. Then we have the small town here down to the south. And what I have done so far is start building my power infrastructure. I have a small power plant here. It's the one that's going to be producing the electricity that then we have to distribute to customers. And we do so through the use of power lines. I place all these high voltage power lines that you can see here, these transmission towers. And these ones are carrying the electricity to our substations, which is where this high voltage gets converted into low voltage, which is finally what goes to the customers through these power lines that we can see here.
You don't want their TVs explode, I would assume, right? That's why you need the converter.
Exactly. So high voltage is really good for transmitting power over very long distances. Then the customers need low voltage for their at-home use, of course.
How do you decide like how many power lines do you need to run? Like, because as of right now, I see that there are like 3 power lines going to the city that is on top, and to this one there is 2.
Yeah, so that will mostly have to do with the size of the city and how much electricity it's demanding from the grid. So right now this is a medium-sized city, so we are going to be okay with just 1 substation and 3 power lines. But the city will continue to grow, of course, and buildings will become taller, and it will continue expanding in all directions. So at some point we'll probably need to add more power lines and another substation, while we keep an eye on the other city that's here in the south, and here in the notification area that there's a new city being built in 5 days from now, so we also have to prepare for that.
Oh, I see. So basically right now on the right side, it shows you that there's going to be a new city in 5 days. And each day, as you progress forward, you, I guess, like earning some amount of money that helps you to expand, that basically city is paying to you. right?
That's correct. So you are basically selling energy to customers. In the left side, you can see your stats, and that's showing you how much energy you have sold. And then at the end of the day, you're always getting a report that I can show you now.
Are your vehicles all electric now?
Not yet.
We're getting to midnight, and now we can see the end of day report, and this tells us, okay, this is how much electricity we have sold to each customer type, so to houses and factories and shops and so on.
And what determines like how much money you're gonna receive?
Also, the amount of money you receive is basically dependent on how much energy you're selling, and it also depends on the type of customer. For example, you are charging industries more than you are charging residential customers. So then you have to, of course, deduct all the costs, how much money you have spent to produce that electricity, and how much money you're using to maintain your power lines and maintain your buildings. And now we have made a very decent profit that we can now use to expand our city. The thing is that now, in just a few hours, we're going to have a solar flare hitting us. So we probably have to deal with that first before we start thinking about how can we expand our infrastructure.
And hopefully, in terms of power generators, like can you build only factories, or you can build wind turbines and other different power generators?
At the moment, you can choose from around a dozen different types of power plants. So you're going to have everything from very small diesel generators that are very good to support your power grid in moments where there's a spike in demand. So you're also going to have wind turbines and solar plants and more traditional electricity generation types, such as coal and gas. And yeah, the thing is, and you need to rethink your strategy depending on which power plant types you're going to be using, right? So if you're building your whole infrastructure on solar, you're probably going to need to combine that with energy storage. Otherwise, what are you going to do when it's nighttime or when it's cloudy? It's usually a good idea to mix and match some different types of electricity generation. So you might have some more stable power plants for your background load, the load that's always there. And then you can use solar and wind to complement that.
It doesn't matter in which part of the world you are, and you would use like different types of power plants?
Absolutely. So each type, each level is set, as we said before, in a specific part of the world. And of course, each one has a different climate, and they have different economies, and so on and so forth. So, for example, if you are playing here in Denmark, where it's always very windy, your best bet is going to be to use wind power, right? Because they are going to have a very high output. But for example, maybe if you're playing in a level that's set in Phoenix, Arizona, and one that's set in Cairo in Egypt, where you have plenty of sun, you might want to rethink your strategy in those ones. And as well, in some parts of the world, some electricity types are cheaper than in others. For example, here we're playing in Finland, where these are very, very plentiful. So you can have your biomass-fired plants at a lower cost, for example. So all of those factors are going to impact on the decisions you make.
So where are the highest cost electricity is in the world? So we'll avoid it.
California, for sure.
I guess then no. Bitcoin farms.
Don't make California, because they will lose.
And do you guys have your lights on?
We have five employees spinning pedals right now, and it's like,
I mean, you see what happened with the lawyer, right? He was spinning too slow.
Yeah, I have this guy that's like not impressed. Like, this is one of the electricity manager from the past. Yeah, you guys can see him. He's named Bob. So sorry, Bob. Thank you. All right, go back.
Oh, we're getting hit by a solar flare.
Solar. Yeah, I was
So,
like, I
but-
was. It was like I remember talking to you in the past, Frederico. It's like about having this dynamic events that can alter your gameplay when you set up things to like. It seems like everything is doing smooth and everything is fine, and then it's like favorite TV show hits the TVs or something, or like the stadium, there's a game in the town, it's like the demand for electricity grows, and at times when you felt like, oh, it's all safe and it's like all peaceful, and the music is nice, and then it's like shit hit fan, and your things start collapsing. It's like, so there's like a domino effect. Like I think that's a big part of the game where it's like if you're not prepared, things are going to get worse. It's like, so it's just like one thing takes another things with it, and it just fails and fails and fails, and then it's harder for you to recover.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. It's very easy to end up having like a domino effect if you haven't planned things accordingly. So you need to be very, very careful, and you always need to make sure that you have a backup, that your backup also has a backup. Otherwise, whenever circumstances change, you are going to be in trouble. Yeah.
Backupception.
Yeah.
It's in a way how things work in reality. Power grids are always redirecting power. If there is a power line that's down, then power might end up taking a different path, and so on and so forth.
Todd, are we going to see any disastrous events like tornadoes or fires or anything like that in the future? Is that something that you guys considering, or not yet? Godzilla may be coming out of the water. It's like, it's like what the city builder without Godzilla. It's like that's
for the time being, I think we are aiming to have at least 4 different disasters. Maybe we'll add more in the future. But for now, we are focusing on those types of disasters that are very closely related to power grids and not expanding too much and going into the usual city builder direction, which is having fires and tornadoes and earthquakes. So we're focusing more on stuff like it's very cold and ice is building on your power lines and they start collapsing and stuff along those lines.
Yeah, that's cool. And you also have like the environmental conditions, right? Like your city doesn't like when you build big factories next to it. So there's some influencement. So I played it in the past, and I found few loopholes, and my game didn't look that right because I just like overkilled it with millions of lines, and yeah, I kind of like found that like little loophole and beat the game with the boss.
I know. Or it's just city paid you too much money, and then there is a question why.
Yeah.
Of course, that's a loophole that we are going to fix. So enjoy it while you can. So at some point, if you are
you got the
building
new
a
city,
million...
I think.
Yeah, I did.
So the new city just spawned, the mini one, the small one.
Yeah. So now we have 3, and we have to
You
find
have
a way
to run it through the water now.
I can run it through the water. Yeah, that should be fine.
And it seems it shows you that biomass plant is going down for maintenance in 4 hours. Is it something that you should also keep considering while you're playing, that like certain power plants might be just shut down for maintenance, and you have to, like you basically mentioned, have a backup for another backup to actually sustain that maintenance period?
Yeah, you either have to have multiple power plants or you have to have some energy storage facilities. So while your power plant is no longer generating any power, you can at the very least, keep the lights on in hospitals and very important buildings, because otherwise your customer satisfaction is going to tank very quickly. So it's good that you reminded me that, so I can use some of my research points now to unlock this technology here in the research tree, that's called staff training, and that allows me to reduce the downtime when we're performing maintenance by 50%. I think that... Sorry.
I think it would be good to have in real life the same thing. Reduce maintenance time by 50%. Can I have it now, please?
just by pressing a button. Yeah.
Yep.
Sasha is playing too many God games.
Well, what can you do?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to do that, and I think that by having this technology and having some energy storage, we're going to be fine while the biomass plant is down for maintenance. Maybe
So
I'm going to.
How do you generate those points? Are they being generated over time, or you have to do certain things to generate?
They are being generated every day, so they are not depending on what you're doing in the game. You're just getting 1 point every day, and then you can use those points in the research tree and change them for whatever you want.
It seems like your
a whole bunch
entire
of the
city is...
no power, yeah. At least the hospital's still having power, so
you train staff, now they know, so they're just like, oh, they don't pay us well. It's like it's like they quit. Yeah.
Definitely not generating as much power as we should. We need another power plant.
Well, it's surprisingly very challenging game. It's like I remember that even Dave, our QA tester, has like been always reaching you out. It's like, Federico, it's like so hard. It's so hard. It's like we need to tone down the difficulty level, because that's another problem with developers. Is like when we develop our own game, is like our vision becomes tunneled, and we know exactly how to build, when to build it, and how many. You know, it's like, and when the new players come, they just do weird stuff. They just don't play the same way we play, and you're just like, guys, come on, it's not that hard. It's like, why can't you get it? You know, it's like, it's easy, but like in reality, it's just like, yeah, we're getting the tunneled vision, and it's like, it's very important. That's why we run this close test, and we invite you guys to try things out, so that we can tweak things, because like there's usually it's really hard for us. And what we're looking most of the time, like when the game is free and when the people trying it for free, negative feedback is so much more valuable than positive feedback, because the positive feedback is cheap. Like it's easy to get it because person tries the game for free, so they absolutely don't want to be an a-hole to you and say, it's like, your game sucks, man. It's like, thanks, you know. It's like we don't like that as a human being. It's like, it's so much harder to go and give a constructive negative feedback and say, it's like, Federico, thanks for letting me play, but I don't like it. That's a very valuable person. Like, we want to talk to you. It's like, we want to understand why you don't like it and what can we do to improve it. Because, yeah, positive feedback is easy to get. Negative feedback is easy to get when you sell it. But when the game is free, it's really hard to get the negative feedback. So people are just being too nice. And that's unfortunately hurts the project a little bit. And like, we always have to chase these people and see, it's like, hey, why did you left? Why don't you like it? Why don't you play it? You know? And that's why it's important to get some fans to play it and get the honest opinion, because our friends and family is not a good feedback. It's like, they're gonna love it. They're gonna be like, oh, that's the best game I ever played. You're doing so good. Yeah. So yeah.
So negative feedback might hurt your pride a little bit, but it's definitely much more useful. So you can continue making the game better and trying to get, once the game is out there, once you finally reach the release date after years of working on it, so it can be the best product it can possibly be.
We're coming after Fortnite for sure. It's gonna beat that one.
I think it's good to stress out that like constructive feedback is good, because like, yeah, when you receive negative feedback, I don't like it, and then it's like, that's it. You have no idea what the person didn't like, and you need just a little bit more elaboration. Like, hey, I see you have like 5 buildings, and I would really enjoy to have way more variation of buildings. But as of right now, with 5 buildings, it might be not good enough for me. It's not satisfying for me. So like, that kind of feedback is very valuable, because then it just provides us with a ton of information, what the people prefer and what they would like to see in a game. Because yeah, quite often we can see that some people are just like saying, oh yeah, that's not my type. And it's like, okay, well, you played it, which means clearly that it's something that you get interested in the beginning. And like, maybe you didn't just see specific, maybe like you wanted to play shooter inside the strategy game kind of, and you saw it somewhere in a trailer, and it's still going to provide us a lot of good information, because if it is the truth, then we probably need to rethink how our trailer is and like remove those elements that tell people that it's a shooter.
Tell it
That
to
kind of
mobile
stuff.
games. Yeah, tell it to
Well, mobile games is a little bit different story. It's all about like how to get forward and how to get
well,
as many
it's
people.
the mobile games. They're less
Oh,
personal.
oh.
Like PC. Oh, you got the explosion. Here we go.
Oops.
I'm having some troubles
right.
here.
Developers losing their own game. That's how hard it is.
I
Yeah.
am not dead yet. Still have a fight in me.
Yeah.
Yeah, mobile game ads are just different.
Well, yeah, I was like just recently, my wife downloaded the game and he saw like completely different ad, and she downloaded the game and the game is completely different and she continues playing it, and I was like, why are you doing this? Is like, the thing is like it works, like it works on psychologically. As long as your game is fine, people download it, and because that's why they're doing it. You know, it's like they hook up people with ads, something like very satisfying. You know, it's like something that looks like, oh, like I can pour the lava on this gnome and save a princess or something. You know, it's like your typical ad. You know, it's like because we're all a little bit sadistics inside of us and want to see what's gonna happen with that gnome. It's like or orc or whatever. And then you go and play the game, and it's actually like they hook you up, and it's like, and that's what happened to her. It's like I was like, you should be mad. It's like you shouldn't play this game. It's like just throw the phone in the window and be mad. I don't want you to enjoy this because they fool you. But unfortunately, it is what it is. Like those are work. Like it doesn't work with PC games, or because we have communities. Like our communities will not let us do that. They're vocal. They will be like, "Whoa, you guys are dirty. Like, why are you doing this?" You know, it's like, "Here's your negative feedback." It's like, and they communicate and they talk about it. In the mobile games, you don't have this kind of community. There's like lone wolves. You know, it's like starting from housewives, going all the way to like 5-year-old boy that plays the game. You know, it's like some of them don't care about like what you advertise as long as they launch the game and they like it. You know, it's like, so they need clicks, and conversion just happens naturally. In PC, it's like different world. Like on ads, it's ads is overall is not as advanced on the PC in PC gaming. And, so yeah, mobile is different beast for sure. Talking of which, Federico, when we're gonna have power to the people in mobile phone? He dropped his glass of vodka right there. It's like,
It's coming to mobile in 2050.
2050. Okay.
Now you can look forward to release on PC.
Well, you probably will be able to just like launch it on 2050. You don't even need to port it. It's like the phones are
On your
probably,
calculator.
if the phones are going to be more powerful than what we have right now in 2050. I can I say I guarantee that? Let's say you guys keep that in mind. 2050, we come back to this stream and we check how powerful.
No, we're slowly reaching the limits, I think. But yeah, I think we already said that.
No, wait for the breakthrough.
10 years ago.
Just look at the latest iPhone. It has a better camera. It's like iPhone 13. It's like they move the camera around, and it's like, yeah, it's sharper now.
I think it's going to be inside our head in 2050.
Oh.
Yeah, it'll be a chip. It'll be a chip inside our head.
You guys giving people crazy ideas. I don't know. It's like, imagine if they mess something up. It's like, I was thinking, it's like, would you want to be uploaded to the internet, right? Like your consciousness. But the problem was that, imagine how scary it is. It's like, what if like we all experience anxiety at certain cases, but like, what if you get in that state of anxiety forever? It's like you get like somewhere in the like little tube, you know, it's like of internet, and you just like freak out 24/7 forever. That's your hell. We invented it. Like, welcome. It's like yeah.
Okay, thank you for giving me something to have nightmares about.
Yes. Well, we need to spice up conversation a little bit. You guys talking about only good things, and it's like hey, a little bit philosophical talk will not hurt.
A digital hell forever. Yeah, that doesn't sound great.
Nightmares
Actually, if it has ads,
stuck.
it would be even worse. Just watching ads for the rest of eternity.
Watching mobile phone ads. Mobile game ads.
You guys cruel.
Yeah. Sasha know where he's gonna go online, right, Sasha? It's like, you pick the place to leave. It's like, but yeah, no, I mean that's cool. Well, I mean, if you guys have anything else to add, is like maybe like to tell us a little bit more about your future plans, what we're planning to see in the game, and yeah, we can start slowly wrapping up. It's like, was a pleasure to chat with you guys, but yeah, it's like, can you tell us really quick, is like when the game is releasing, what people can expect, like maybe how many cities, how many regions, how many buildings, how many soundtracks, how many 3D models, and stuff like that.
Yes, absolutely. We finally have a release date. It took us some time to get there, but
when
now
you
we
said
have
that,
a
the
release
lights
date,
got
and it's
on.
going to be February the 8th, 2022. So just a couple months from now, a few months from now. And we are still working on the game. We're still adding some very exciting new features. The latest thing we have added is a Sandbox Mode, where you can basically control every single aspect about how you want to play. You can choose your own level. You can modify the climate. You can decide how quickly cities grow, and so on and so forth. So that's one of the new things we have been working on. And we are aiming to have a total of 14 different levels. They're going to be set for the world in all 5 continents. So you're going to be able to play in Nigeria and in Egypt and in Cambodia, Australia, the US, and so on. We are aiming to have around a dozen different power plant types, and then all of your other supporting buildings like switching stations and substations, lots of energy storage solutions for you. Yeah, and one of the things we are also going to be adding to the game shortly is we are aiming to have an online leaderboards feature where every week there will be a new challenge. Crazy challenges like you have to play in Finland, but it's always going to be 40 degrees and you can only use diesel generators. Give it your best shot, and then you will be able to compete with other people online to see who can find the best solution to that problem. So then you will have a new challenge coming up every week. So that's also going to be very, very exciting.
Cool. Yeah, that's cool. And cool. Yeah, I would say you guys make sure who's watching us wishlist the game on Steam. It's important for us because the more wishlists we get, in the better places we can show up on Steam. So if you guys can be so kind and just like go on Steam and find the game, or we can put the link on the chat as well for you. So you can wishlist it. Every bit counts. So developers hard at work. We're making sure that the game is fun. Close test coming soon. Join Discord for that. And yeah, guys, thank you very much. It was a pleasure chatting with you. Nice to meet you. Federico, Frederick, and Todd, you guys are doing a great job. Thank you very much. Thanks for finding time to chat. And chat, if you guys want to meet with somebody else in the future, let us know. Follow us and subscribe. And yeah, you guys, if you want to add a little bit more and say your final words before I click, I shut off the electricity, so please do it.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure to be here and to share more about this project that we are, I think we all are very excited about. Maybe now Fredrik and Todd are going to tell me, no, yeah, we don't really care. But no, we are actually very excited about this, so it's been great to be able to share this with you and to talk more about this game. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.
It's been amazing, yeah. I just want to say thank you to you guys, yeah. This is my first ever game, so it's going to be, like, it's mad to be released so soon as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. The first of many.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, you guys are very welcome anytime. So, yeah, I would say we can meet again in near future as well and show more updates about the game. Hopefully we found a few more new fans for you guys. So anyone who has been watching us, if you guys like the game, please make sure, again, join the Discord and the close test. We will be looking for negative feedbacks only. No, it's like you don't have to be negative, but like honest feedback is the value. You know, it's like check out
Then
our
all the
game.
developers will be depressed.
Yeah, the more active you are, we always check Discords, and like we're gonna invite you to check our other games as well. So thank you everyone very much. Stay safe. So there's a plague around us. So yeah, just be safe.
Absolutely.
Thank you all. Sasha, thank you very much. Federico, Frederick, and Todd. Guys, awesome. Thank you very much.
Yep.
See you guys
Thank
later.
you very
Great,
much.
guys.
Thank you, Alex.
Pleasure chatting.
Have a good one.
Cheers.
Bye bye.
Yep. Bye bye.